Alright, back at it. Let's check the SPY. We kind of had an interesting day. We had, so we've had this, as we've talked about, we had this crazy earnings seasons kind of gap down, then we had the gap up, then we had the grind higher. And today it was kind of just some sideways action. For the most part, we had basically we had a little gap up in the morning, then just a grind sideways basically all day up until around 2 o'clock. Had a big fade, fell off a cliff here, and then in typical, market fashion, we completely rebounded and have come right back to highs. And that's where we've ended the day. So crazy action, grind for hours, and then all within 2 hours go from the bottom to the top. So still not really a great. I mean, that doesn't make you feel too confident. Really, I would say either side of the trade right now. I think we're probably looking more so intraday speaking, more so for a fade, in my opinion, somewhere back in this 504 neighborhood. But a lot of it is going to have to do with these earnings that we've been talking about. We had the big Meta gap down. We had the Tesla, which now is going even higher because of some Chinese news. We had Nvidia wasn't earnings, but still, it's having some strength. Microsoft has actually come in a bit now, so could be interesting. Let's look at a few of these names. ZIM, which was the big winner for the past probably, almost 10 days now. There's been opportunities here. Today we finally had the kind of exhaustion consolidation day, similar to what the SPY did, minus the big, crazy cliff and then rebound at the end of the day. Zim basically did that. It just kind of consolidated, which is a good sign. This has been relatively strong versus the market. And on this weekly 1 year, it really looks nice. When it broke through this level here, this 1160, 1170 zone, if we look at that in here, 1160, 1170, right in here is where it had this big gap in Green Day. So this could continue. This could give us one more leg up before maybe more of a proper sell-off. Maybe potentially we make a run up in this 14 zone, maybe 14 and change. So Zim is still on the watch. Of course, every leg higher, the risk becomes higher. You need to be more diligent with executing your stop loss. But nevertheless, there can still be opportunity to the upside. So we'll keep watching that. I've been talking about Krispy Kreme. Last night I highlighted this. Let me see if I can find this. This monthly 3 year. I mean, if you look at this level, I'm looking at this 1280 level on this wick, and all these tests at this 1280 level, and then this big volume that came in. So to me, I mean, and then you take into account the obvious huge fade. It hasn't filled the gap, but it's damn close on the daily. And So that 1280 level, as I was saying last night, I'm starting to work a day trade, kind of a short swing on this, risking off this 1280. I just feel like it's worth the shot. It doesn't look great in here on the 7-day. It kind of looks like it wants to roll over, but as long as it holds that 1280 level, this is still, to me, looking like a good long. So that's on the radar now for me. This MNY, I had mentioned this a while back, but the problem is this is very light on volume, not something I typically go towards because I think volume is one of the most important elements of the trade. But this weekly 2-year chart looks so good. I mean, and today they came out with earnings, so, and also the moving average here has a similar look to this ZIM, as I was saying. It doesn't have the nice squeeze, but if you look in here where it popped in and then held the moving average, this MNY kind of has a similar move, like a pop through and now a hold. So a little bit of a stretch there, but same kind of idea. So might be a sleeper here. Like I said, low volume though, not something you would sink a big trade relative to what you're doing. You know, this is like a more of a lottery ticket trade. But visually, I really like this here. I could see this going through 250 and maybe 350. But it would really have to get some volume. I mean, it has proven that it can make some moves here. But even this is only 14 million. So we'll call it 15 million. So even that's not very much, but visually looks very good. RBLX, same thing I was talking about last night, with kind of similar to Krispy Kreme. Has a very nice big picture. Again, this is a monthly 5-year chart, but if we dial in these key levels where we had some big volume, we have this 32.89 and this 34.12. This zone here I think is key. And as I was showing last night or the night before, if we look at this 34.12 zone, if you drill in here, 34.12 was almost the low of the recent moves. This is 34.12. So it's looks to be a strong area because we had the gap down and then the immediate rally. So to me, I'm seeing a potential long setting up. If nothing else, like I've said before, it's a quality risk reward opportunity. I mean, when you have this strong zone that you feel confident behind your reasoning of kind of what you've pieced together here with your strategy, it's worth a shot because the upside is much more than the downside, as long as you have your stop loss or you personally cut it yourself, but you got to just move on. But this is looking nice. 34.12. That's way down here. I mean, like I'm saying, it's setting up similar to the SPY. We're up at this level on this 14-day chart. We're up on the top of this activity, so I'd like to see everything kind of pull in a little bit, and that's going to set up a nice dip for the then kind of curl and rally and rip. So we're gonna keep watching that. I don't think there was a whole ton of other stuff. CGC, we've been watching this. Like I said, it kind of needs a breather, and today it did get that. I don't know if this is news related. Let's see if this says. I don't think it really says much, but I actually didn't watch this much today, but clearly this is, since this gap up, this has just been a pretty rough sell-off. I actually didn't notice that. It actually looks kind of nice in here in terms of more of a short sell. Kind of a tight move, but to the downside, similar to what it did here to the upside. Same move here to the downside, and you could plan that off this big sell-off, kind of as the trend. Interesting. Still one to watch, but we're gonna let this one kind of cool down for a bit. Same thing with ACB. There's a few names. Also, we want to continue to look at this EV sector. I don't know what to do about this Tesla. It's going for a big run, but I just can't see this just rocketing back. I'd be very surprised, but if this keeps it up, some of these little EV names are gonna go. And also, I was noticing, like I had mentioned, this Alt M. This Alt M all of a sudden had a big move today. Not out of nowhere, because I've been starting to move in on it, but I really want this thing to kind of brew for a little bit. But this is an interesting start. We have this increase in volume, nice spike. I think a lot of it is this EV sector. So we got to see what Tesla does, but we got some potential trades setting up, so we're gonna stay on it.